Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Kerbal Space Program, or Kerbal Space Program to Infinity and Beyond. Let's start our game here. We're going to head back to the vehicle assembly building, and we're going to build a brand new rocket here. I'm going to do the same purpose. I want to land on the moon, or at least get to the moon. We can talk about the landing phase a little bit later, but we're just going to build a rocket. So, it occurred to me in the last two episodes, I haven't showed you the process of actually building the rocket that I've made, that you saw in the last two videos, that have actually been reasonably successful for us. So we're going to start very simple with this fanciest command module, and then we're going to attach a decoupler followed by an advanced SAS module. And then below this we want to stick with the same kind of setup that I've been using for a while now, which is double liquid fuel tanks with a liquid fuel engine at the bottom. And then beyond that we want to attach another 3 huge fuel tanks on the outside here with the 3 times symmetrical tool here. And the only way we can get this to work is by actually connecting a fuel duct from each of these down to either the engine or this fuel tank right here. So that's going to work a-okay. Maybe not the most balanced thing, but it'll get the job done for now. So we will set up the next stage of our rocket with yet another stack decoupler. And things are going to look a little bit different because I'm going to completely forego the use of solid fuel boosters for once, because people have been clamoring for that. So how did I have this set up on the last one? I think I had it was the same thing. We had another phase of jet engines, but we had a fucking lot of them. So we would almost have this might have actually been a radial coupler coming next. Or, sorry, a tri-coupler with 3 times fuel tanks. I guess 6 times fuel tanks, and also jet engines underneath those, or sorry, liquid fuel engines. I know people occasionally find that annoying when I call the liquid fuel engines jet engines by accident. Please, I'm doing my best here. And then we're going to attach some structural fuselages. What this is going to allow us to do is actually attach some more engines, hopefully without causing too much risk of overheating. We'll see. So how do I want this? So I got these 3 coming off here, then we will attach the 3 fuel tanks in a similar fashion, like this. And we want to make sure these are as close to level with the other engines as possible, just for, the standards, or the reason of balance. And I think that's going to be reasonably good. So attach these. That looks pretty good. Obviously, in a situation like this, you want to make sure that you are tying everything together with struts. So we're getting fairly close to being finished here. Let's just... This... And, yes, symmetry is on, so that should do it. We should probably tie our fuselages together too. That's not going to work. That's not going to work at all. Okay, let's take this off. That's not what I meant to do. And attach like this. And then attach another strut like this. This will add a little bit of extra weight, but it's worth it, I think, for the extra support that it'll give us. Like a brand new pair of underwear or something. Alright, so now we got a 2-phase rocket. Let's save this as Lunar Hopeful. That doesn't sound very good. How about Moon Maybe Mark 1? That's a nice name. And we're just going to add one more phase on the bottom of this, which is going to be... Shit, this might not work out very well. It's going to be exactly the same thing, but more, I guess, is the way to put it. We're going to make it even wider at the bottom, which is probably going to have the, very, very negative consequence of causing this rocket to fall apart on the launch pad. But that's okay. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, shit happens, right? Can we put, here's a thought, structural fuselages under these ones to serve as... Oh, but then we want these to decouple, don't we? Okay, let's take this off. Put a decoupler under the structural fuselages, followed by more structural fuselages. I have no idea if this is going to work out okay, by the way. Something's wrong with this. Now it doesn't work. Because of the decoupler? I don't know. Let's move these up just a little bit. Now I've got this all in a kerfuffle here. How about this? How's this look? No, we want it in the middle here. This is very confusing for me. That's where I want it. Okay, there we go. That's better, maybe? We'll see. I'm going to try to toss a decoupler on here. We might not be able to make this happen, but if it works, it works. Nope, we can't. Okay, so we're going to ignore that problem for now, which is the true mark of a great aeronautist. Aeronauticist? I don't know. Ignoring the problems as they come up. Then we're going to make exactly the same kind of engine style that we've got down here. But we need more engines. And that kind of frightens me. Because we're going to have a great risk of overheating. But let's start with what we know, which is a shit ton of liquid fuel engines down here at the bottom. Dare we expand even further? Let's start with just tying all this together with struts, which is obviously our number one concern, making sure we don't have too much wobble here so we can actually get up in the air reasonably well. Okay, so this should all tie together. I have no idea if this is going to work or if this is going to be like the worst idea I've ever had in my entire life. I'm sure some people out there probably have... Yeah, let's just see if this bad boy will fly. We want to attach one more set of things here. Two more sets, actually. Let's attach some RCS thrusters. This will allow us to, you know, stabilize our ship a little bit more, should we need to. We'll attach these on the fuel tanks here. And we should probably attach an RCS fuel tank as well. This is not going to be the ideal way to do things. Where is the RCS fuel tank? It's in here somewhere. Yes, okay. This will provide fuel to our RCS boosters. It sucks having it attached to our command. Oh, no, we don't have it. That's perfect. Never mind. And we'll attach another one down here. Like right there. Maybe here. It's going to be okay. I don't know. There was one more thing I wanted to do, but I'm not sure if winglets are going to help us out a lot here. The winglets are good because the advanced SAS module can control them in order to balance our ship out a little bit, should we need it. And, you know, I'm guessing that we are probably going to need it based on the unholy design of the ship so far. So this is Moon Maybe, Mark 1. Don't hold out a lot of hope for this. But if it gets off the ground, this is, like, I prefer to use solid fuel boosters for this. But if it gets off the ground, oh my god, it's swaying in the wind already. All right, throttle to max because we actually have to this time. We don't have solid fuel boosters right off the bat. 3, 2, 1... It's going. And it's staying reasonably straight while it does it too, which is not what I expected. But it's like a hulking behemoth just trying to get off the ground here. But that's okay, I mean, provided this works. This is not necessarily a better solution than the solid fuel boosters. In fact, it seems like a much worse solution, but I mean, it's primarily because my jet is, or my my spaceship here is unbelievably heavy. So obviously our acceleration will continue to grow. This is not a fast rocket right now. This is going like less than 100 kilometers an hour. But we'll see. I mean, obviously when this stage decouples, we will go a lot faster and accelerate a lot faster. I mean, after this stage, this isn't that much more varied or that different from my my last rocket, which actually worked out fairly well, except I don't know. This is taking a lot longer through the early stages, let's put it that way. Alright, so now our acceleration going a lot better. Oh my god! Hopefully there weren't too many personnel down at the launch pad. So we will just crank up our throttle as high as it'll go. We might as well max out our... What was I going to say? Max out... Oh! Why is it wavering like that? Oh, it's because it's the engine here. It's fine, we'll be okay. I don't think we're going to get as high as our previous one, because I think I had extra fuel tanks attached on that one. Maybe we will, though. I mean, we're accelerating pretty fast here. Other than this is basically just the same rocket design we've been using for a couple videos now. In fact, actually, it's a little bit better, because all three of these rockets are firing... Oh no, we're going to have the same problem. I still haven't figured out what caused that. That's weird. But it's all good. So we will get up to... people have been telling me, you know, get up to about 35,000 feet and then start your orbit. I'm going to stick with 100,000 for now just because I know, like, that's what I know and love. This is an unholy rocking horse here, or swinging horse, I guess. And we're going to shoot for the moon on this one. We might as well. We've got a ton of fuel left. What this does mean, I guess, is that we can start our attempt for orbit at around, you know, 85,000 or wherever this thing runs out of fuel, rather than wasting the fuel in our next stage. So we'll just keep this going. This is going to take us further than 85,000 feet for sure. It looks like this is a better design than my previous rocket, even if it did take 100 years to get off the launch pad effectively. Okay, now we'll switch to our final stage here. We're swaying a little bit. It's weird. But what we are going to do is, as we continue to climb, start turning off SAS, rotating ourselves into a position where we meet the horizon, basically. A little bit more. like that, and we'll roll ourselves like this. Okay, that seems good to me. And then we'll accelerate again. Using the thrust key, of course, I've forgotten. So now all we're trying to do is put ourselves, as always, in a stable orbit around Kerbal, which we will then use to ricochet us to the moon. Hopefully, anyway. So what we're going to do here is, good, we're not falling anymore. This is a stable orbit. We could cut our throttle right now, and I think we would have, well, we wouldn't have a stable orbit. Instead, we would just fall directly, like, you know, into the Black Sea or whatever this is over here. So we'll just keep this up until we... I mean, I'm wasting a lot of fuel right now. I could probably afford to throttle down a little bit, but time is of the essence. It's actually not, but let's say it is. I want to land on the moon. I mean, this ship has no landing legs, so it would be more like a crash landing, but that would still be okay as opposed to, you know, crashing through the planet, which is what happened last time. So we'll wait until we start. Once we get, like, this whole circle around the Earth, or this whole ellipsis around the Earth, it'll start expanding more, and then we want to cut our throttle as soon as our orbit touches, like, it becomes tangential to the moon here. Or touches a point on the outside of the moon, I should say. The moon's orbit, of course, not the moon itself. So here we go. We've set something up there. Let's crank down a little bit so we can save a little bit more fuel. I mean, we're still accelerating very well here, and we still have a decent amount of fuel. But I would like to avoid using it all, if possible. So we're going to have our orbit grow wider and wider here over time. As always, of course, I am using M to look at my map. For those of you who have never played Kerbal Space Program, that might be confusing. Actually, do we want to do that, or do we want to accelerate really hard for a while? Let's see how that affects our map. Well, obviously it makes it grow a little bit faster. This is what I'm going to do for now. We'll get down to our last 2 fuel tanks. This has not been good use of fuel. But that's fine. We're going to continue accelerating for a little while here. I don't need that much fuel to be able to get to the moon. Okay, here we go. Got to be ready to time this. It's going to be a quick M and then an X to cut our throttle as soon as we touch the orbit here. Okay, cut it. And it looks like we're going to have a good chance here. So how long until we meet the moon? 6 hours. So we'll definitely fast forward here through time a little bit. We can look at our ship as it somersaults through the air. Actually, it's maintaining a pretty good altitude, or a pretty good position, I would say. Orientation was the word I was looking for there. We can speed this up a little bit more. Traveling very quickly now. And we should probably get ready to stop it in, like, you know, another 10 seconds or so when we get much closer to the moon. Okay, let's go back to 1. And we should be able to see the moon. There's Kerbal. That's not the moon, is it? It feels like it should be closer than that. I'm looking around. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, what people have told me in the comments for this, we're not traveling very quickly at all, are we? Is I should actually throttle in the opposite direction of the moon in order to get captured more effectively by its orbit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put there's the moon back here in this direction. I'm just going to throttle a little bit for a little while and see how this impacts my path with the moon. So we'll zoom in on this. It's actually widening it, which might be what we want, but might not be what we want. Okay, let's cut the throttle. Maybe I made a terrible mistake there. Moon's still directly behind us. It's going to be passing, I think, this way. How do I want to do this? So this is the way that I'm traveling right now. I want to travel a little bit the other way. So maybe I actually want to move towards the moon? I don't know, that doesn't seem right. But let's turn SAS off and orient ourselves towards the moon anyway. Thank you, W key. You're doing a very good job right here. SAS not doing so much of a good job. No. Hey, S key. Oh god, what have I done? SAS, save me. Then we'll rotate ourselves over here. A key, not really doing what I want. But it's better, I think. We'll then use T, S, A. Stop. Okay. Better? We'll see. Let's throttle up for a little bit. See if this moves us in a situation where we can maybe get a little bit closer to the moon's orbit here. Okay, that is pulling us back a little ways, which is a good thing, I think. But I think I'm basically just destining myself for another crash landing here. Is that such a bad thing? If these Kerbins die on the moon, I think they'll consider it a success. I will consider it a success. They might not. Oh, shit. Totally fucked that up. Okay. We don't want to do that instead. We want to turn SAS off. We want to turn our ship around 180 degrees here. That's the easiest way to do 180 degree turn, in my opinion. And then we want to throttle back in this direction instead. Obviously, one of the principal problems with this plane right now is pilot error. You know, we can afford to throttle down a little bit here. And see how this is affecting the orbit that we're coming across. Okay, we're shrinking our orbit around Kerbin. We could get into a stable orbit around Kerbin right now if we wanted to, but I don't really want to do that. We're actually decelerating a little bit. So we'll see how this affects our orbit of the moon. That'd be kind of a cool orbit there. We'd be very... There we go. Oh, that was it. That was it. Fuck. So we got to turn around and go in the other direction a little bit again. I think. Again, 180 degree turn. This is an unbelievably supreme waste of fuel. Throttle up again. Just a little bit. And we're going to watch how our orbit changes. And we're going to get ready to MX very quickly. Here we go. Get ready. Get ready. Come on, MX. Give me some MX here. It's expanding. I don't like that. Shouldn't be doing this. I think I've made a huge mistake. I don't know. Let's cut the throttle. I am going to... I need to work on my own flying ability, I think, for a while. Otherwise, this thing is just going to end up in orbit around Kerbin. Okay, so we know... I think we were on the right path when we started going this way. That's too far. SAS, come on, don't fail me now. Should probably turn RCS on as well. Yeah, there we go. RCS, you got it. Then we'll throttle up. Oh, Jesus. Okay, RCS off. SAS off. This is not helping my orbit. No, not helping in the least. We want to turn like this. Then SAS on. Okay. No, okay, we'll deal with it. I made a huge mistake. Now I'm just fuck it. We're gonna float through space forever. I tried. I want this thing... There we go. Enjoy floating through space, guys. I did this to myself. But anyway, that's a decent rocket design. I don't really like it that much. Kind of prefer my solid fuel boosters, to be honest. And we'll just speed up time here. There goes the moon. And now we escape Kerbin in like 10 hours, which is really like 4 seconds. And there we are now floating through the universe. Or we're orbiting the sun. Awesome, that's exactly what I intended on. So we have basically become one of the sun's satellites. We've become a natural planet here. Feels good, man. What's my rotation? How long does it take me to get around the sun? Long time. Long time indeed. Yeah, it looks like maybe a couple 100 days. I don't know. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'll end my flight here. And we will see you next time. I'm going to try out some new designs. I'm going to try out some new tactics. I'm going to practice flying to the moon a little bit more so I don't suck so much at it. And hopefully we'll have some results for you next time. Maybe I can actually get a crash landing on the moon, followed by a safe landing on the moon, followed by a return home in 100 episodes. Who knows? Thanks for watching.